Never mind. It was a thought.
Hey Joy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, do I need to show you anything or we have it?
It's not the green, it's next to it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Yeah,
I just pull it down.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, who's left? Come on, yeah,
When?
come on, guys. Okay, here we are.
Come on, everybody. Close this now?
Yeah, close all the doors. Okay. My pens. Oop.
Okay.
Okay. It's 5:30. And good evening and welcome to the March 4th, 2026 meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission for the City of Manitou Springs. The purpose of the Historic Preservation Commission is to protect and enhance districts of historic significance and instill and foster civic pride in the legacy and achievements of the past, and to improve the economic vitality of the historic areas of the community through encouraging compatible rehabilitation of historic structures. The Historic Preservation Commission is responsible for reviewing plans for building in the historic district for architectural appropriateness and to ensure proposals meet the city's design guidelines, which are based on the Secretary of Interior's standards for rehabilitation. The order of proceedings for tonight's public hearing items is as follows. First, I will ask if any commissioners have a conflict of interest or ex parte communication to declare for any of the items on the agenda. Then I will open the public hearing to consider each one of the MCACs. Next is staff presentation, and followed by commissioners who may have questions for staff. Then the applicant may step forward and make any presentation in addition to the staff presentation if they need to. Then commissioners may ask questions of the applicant. Then I will open public comment, and this is when you may comment on the application if you are for or against. After that, I will close public comment and commissioners will deliberate about the application, whether to approve with or without conditions or not approve. Then I will close the public hearing for that MCAC. Following that, for any decision item, the appeal process is as follows. Written notice of appeal must be filed with the city clerk's office within 10 calendar days of the decision. Such appeals shall be heard by the city council, and you can see staff for further information. We will now do roll call. Vice Chair Rose?
Here.
Commissioner Handlin?
Here.
Commissioner Murphy?
Here.
Commissioner Nichols? Here. Commissioner Porter?
Here.
Commissioner Tomsick?
Here.
Thank you. It looks like we have a full roster of 7. And I'd also like to introduce, we have a new alternate member, Jehan Arakan. She is joining us tonight in the audience. So we can move on to approval of the minutes for February 4th. Does anyone have any corrections or additions? Comments? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of February 4th?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
Second.
Excuse me. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the motion passes 7-0. Next is public comment on non-agenda items. No comments? Okay. Notice of council action. Our liaison with city council, Councilor Julie Wolf, was going to join us tonight, but it looks like she's not here. She was just interested in introducing herself and saying a few words about how she connects with the commission. So I guess we'll save that for next meeting. Any unfinished business? No? Okay, we can move on to new business. And our first item. Oh, first of all, do any of the commissioners have any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications you need to? Okay. Thank you. Okay, it is now 5:35 and I will open the public hearing to consider MCAC 2602, 832 Midland Avenue, new construction. Staff.
Good evening. For the record, Zachary Davison, planner for the city of Manitou Springs. MCAC 2602, new construction, single-family residential at 832 Midland Avenue. Here is a overview of the property. It is in the Midland Historic District. It is zoned general residential, and at present it is a vacant lot, non-contributing. The proposal is to build a 1,160 square foot craftsman style bungalow. The project also seeks height relief of up to 29 feet and 9 inches, which is under the 30-foot allowance for the height relief incentive. And since we have a couple applications that are seeking height relief and two that are seeking setback relief, I did want to just kind of introduce some of the regulations outlined. If you are already well aware of this, I apologize. But bear with me as I get through it. I'll try and make it as short as I can. The height relief provision is outlined in Title 18. And it states that no building or structure shall be erected or altered that will exceed the height limits for the respective zone district. For general residential, that's 25 feet, with an exception granted when the building or structure is within a historic district, at which case the maximum height for the zone district may be exceeded subject to the historic district guidelines or approval of the material change of apparent certification which incorporates steep roof pitches. Title 18 goes on to explain this a little further. In the general residential zone district, while the maximum height in the general residential zone district is typically 25 feet, an exception is granted when a property is located within the historic district and receives a material change of apparent certification incorporating steep roof pitches per the historic district guideline. In such cases, building height shall not exceed 30 feet. Height in Title 18 is measured as a vertical offset from the existing grade. The area between existing grade and the maximum height offset is referred to as an envelope, and the entire structure must remain within this envelope. And the same is true for setbacks in Title 18, not quite as well defined as height. While the minimum side setback in the general residential zone district is typically 7.5 feet, the Historic Preservation Commission can approve as low as 5 feet for new construction or additions in the historic district. The exact wording here, within the historic district, subject to the historic district guidelines, a permanent side setback of less than 7.5 feet may be reviewed and approved, conditionally approved or denied by the Historic Preservation Commission at no time without variance approval. Shall the side setback be less than 5 feet or less than 10 feet separation from neighboring buildings or structures, including across property lines. And that brings us to Title 17, where the Historic Preservation District incentives outline height restriction and side setback relief. As previously stated, may be granted by the Historic Preservation Commission when associated with an MCAC for new construction or alteration to an existing building. Title 17 does not mention the trigger for granting relief like we see in Title 18. It leaves most of the guidelines in Title 18's court. The design guidelines, Title 17 outlines that MCAC approval is contingent on consistency with the historic guidelines. And that brings us to the guidelines themselves. What is steep? I wanted to kind of outline that steep does not mean steeper or steepest. As outlined in Chapter 5, new construction should reinforce existing development patterns, but the guidelines warn against imitating historic styles so closely that it creates a false sense of historical development. When evaluating what is steep, we must look at the established roof forms and angles that contribute to the visual unity of the block. In essence, the guidelines seek compatibility over duplication. This means the designs must speak the same architectural language as the neighbors, utilizing shared roof forms and angles without attempting to pass itself off as an original historic structure. In the absence of a fixed numerical standard, a steep roof pitch should be similar in that it respects the triangular shape and vertical interest of the streetscape while not remaining supported to the steepest structure or the steepest historic peaks on the block. All of that to say, we don't necessarily have a set standard to apply steep to, so we are evaluating it based on their particular neighboring structures on that block. And that brings me into MCAC 2602. Here are the current conditions. It is relatively steep, which is a very common feature on this portion of Midland Avenue. As you can see by the neighboring property, it is a bit terraced. It is 1 story in the front, 2 story in the back, which is what the current applicants are seeking. Here is the site plan, how it'll sit on the property itself and the overall footprint. There are some retaining walls that are already there in place and some that they are going to be putting in themselves. Here is the front facade. From finished floor to peak, it will be 17 feet and 7 inches approximately. In the rear facade, from finished floor to peak, 29 feet and 9 inches approximately. And as mentioned about how we measure height in an envelope, the blue portion is the undisturbed grade. We elevated up 25 feet, or in this case, 30 feet if relief is granted. For this particular structure, most of it fits within the 25-foot envelope, with the only portion hanging out is that rear element of the back porch. So for this, the relief is really kind of contained in just that area of the house. With this type of sloped property, measuring height becomes relatively difficult. And here's a different angle showing that rear portion hanging out of the 25-foot minimum. Here is the proposed features, the cladding, the siding, lap siding, the shingle style, and the asphalt style, or asphalt shingle style. And the windows and doors. Railing for the back. And that concludes my presentation. The motion language is as followed. Should the Historic Preservation Commission find it appropriate to grant the material change of appearance certification, staff recommends no conditions. The commission may approve the material change of appearance certification at 832 Midland, approve the material change of appearance certification 832 Midland with conditions, deny the material change of appearance certification 832 Midland, or postpone the material change of appearance certification 83 until April 1st, 2026. Thank you.
Questions for staff, commissioners?
I think my hand is raised.
Oh, Commissioner Porter, yes.
I just have a question. I'm a little confused about the steep pitch of the roof. As I looked at it, the other houses don't have a steep roof, whatever we really decide that is, but this house will be constructed with a steep roof. So is that how you compared it in the neighborhood?
We didn't necessarily have a set standard, although we did try and find a way to kind of best evaluate how we could go about considering what is steep for a particular neighborhood. And while I wouldn't argue that this is the best way to do it, we did try and take an averaged approach where we would take the pitch of every single neighboring structure, create an average, and see how what is being proposed aligns with that. And with that, it kind of brought us to whatever was being requested for 832 or for the ones that haven't been presented yet. What they were requesting kind of aligns with the average. So bear with me, I'm going to get my notes. So for 832 Midland, we see 816 Midland having an 812 pitch, 819 Midland having a 412 pitch, 825 Midland having a 512 pitch, 828 Midland having a 612 pitch, and 802 Midland having a 712 pitch, which gives us an average of 612. So what is being requested aligns with the average, but we don't necessarily have any guidance on how to determine what is considered steep. And I think that's why it's important to reiterate that steep doesn't mean steepest, and it doesn't mean steep or steeper than anything surrounding it. We have to also evaluate the guidelines, which expect us to look at visual harmony and the context of the neighborhood. So it was a bit tough for us to try and evaluate and propose an approach to look at steep without introducing a set standard that hasn't been approved by the board. I hope that answers your question.
It does, and I appreciate it. I just get confused because I always think we have that provision because of some Victorian houses or an elevator need. But this one is a little bit different from things. And so I just was curious how you arrive.
Yeah, and the guidelines always kind of circle back, whether it be chapter 4 or chapter 5, at looking at neighborhood aspects versus district aspects. While the district as a whole is looked at in a historical context, architecturally, it always circles back to neighboring structures. And that's where we really focused our evaluation for these particular cases.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for all that research. That, that was very comprehensive, and I agree that that neighborhood and especially that block has such a mix of different roof slopes, different roof types, that I think this certainly falls within the character.
I do have a question too. Can you go back to the slide, where you show the illustration of the 25-foot height? Yeah. It seems like it's not poking out much, but it is. So a shallower pitch on the roof might affect, bring us down within the allowed height.
Yeah, when we originally met with the applicant, the roof pitch was a little lower, but it was still exceeding 25 feet. And I know we had kind of discussed different options and different ways to make it work and align with the neighboring structures, while also kind of having the same historical look. It was very difficult across the board.
Thanks. Yeah, I think the proportions look really nice in the elevations. That was just one thing I was thinking of.
Any more questions of staff? Yes.
I have one, and this may be totally off the wall, but with new construction like this, and of course, there's going to be two more we're going to deal with. What's Planning Commission's role?
So the planning commission doesn't necessarily have a role if the Historic Preservation Commission approves the relief. In some cases, if relief isn't approved, then applicants would need to seek a variance to allow the same structure to be built as it's being
So-
presented, at least.
They could seek a variance.
What-
What else does Planning Commission look at?
So there's actually a difference between this application and the other two on Midland, in that this application as a single household detached unit, it will be reviewed and approved administratively by staff through a minor site plan process. Whereas the other two are being combined into a minor development plan, which automatically goes to City Planning Commission. And as Zach said, they do have the opportunity to also seek a variance. This applicant doesn't really have a reason to already go to Planning Commission like the other two do. However, this applicant does have the opportunity to seek a variance should they feel so inclined, and should the HPC deny the relief.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Okay.
Another question about the, is there historical information about, how any kind of variance that's allowed? Like if we're, what is that, 4 feet above the 25-foot mark? With the rest of the property, the rest of the house is well below it. So are we looking at an average, or how does this typically go through the process?
So they wouldn't be looking at, it would be a different process. At least the request, they would just be looking for a variance to the height. But I'm not quite sure so much.
So the City Planning Commission reviews variances under a very specific set of criteria. You, as the Historic Preservation Commission, do not have to abide by that criteria. There is no restriction in code about what criteria need to be met, other than it's steep, which is a subjective term, and then it's in a historic district, which is why it's before you. So those are really your only two criteria, and you can decide if it's appropriate or not. I would also like to take this moment to propose that maybe some clarification around this could be incorporated into any Chapter 17 revisions that are forthcoming.
Thank you. Any more questions? Joy? Okay.
Oh,
Um,
I believe Commissioner Porter has her hand up.
Oh, no, I think I was supposed to put it down. There.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I get mixed up.
Last time. Thanks. Okay, will the applicant please come up, state your name and address?
Yes, the applicant is also available online, and I've allowed the applicant to speak, but in tandem.
Hi, I'm Lacey Wells with LGA Studios. Address is 201 East Los Animas Street. And then the homeowner is Carrie Mossop, and they are online.
Hi, yes, this is Carrie Mossop. Um, we currently reside in Seattle, Washington, but we are planning to move to Manitou Springs. I'll say return to Colorado after a 25-year absence. So
Did you have anything to add to the presentation?
Other than that, this is, their planned retirement home. They plan to come here and they really, are looking forward to being able to use that back deck with the shade and then look out onto Manitou. And so that is something that we're really looking forward to. But I don't know that I've got any other comments. We were trying to be respectful of the design and the historic character of Manitou and incorporate that without copying history. So.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions for the applicant? No? I have one question. The front elevation is just the front door and then the garage door, right? That faces the street.
Correct.
Right? And the garage door is, of course, out of character with that neighborhood. So I was wondering, have you considered a different style that might fit into the neighborhood a little more, like the more traditional wooden garage doors, or the styles that you use, because you're the same architect that did the other project for tonight, right?
Michelle is actually,
Oh,
but yeah.
okay. Well, those doors really do fit in to the character more than just a plain metal.
Yes, we
Hot
would
metal.
consider changing the garage door style. So.
Okay, something more
Okay.
rustic and of the area, of the
Yeah.
era,
Yeah, we didn't want to overdo,
right?
but we are totally open. We can change that style.
Okay, thank you.
And
Any
my
other-
hand's up, I think.
Commissioner Porter?
Yes, I think it's up. I just had a question about, is the reason that you're making the roof pitched in a steep fashion of some kind because of the porch, having the porch up higher so you have a view, or is that, what was the reasoning behind that in the design?
The original design was trying to keep clean shapes and forms. And so then when we carried that roof out, it was sticking out just a little bit. So that was part of it. I mean, they do want the deck covered for the views, but really we were trying to keep the clean shapes to tie back to the historical designs of that style.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Handlin.
I just had two questions. The windows, typically in Manitou, we're seeing the double hung windows, with the sash in the middle. And then also on the railings, typically we're seeing a vertical design rather than the more modern horizontal.
Yes, so the homeowners actually do prefer a modern style, so they were doing that inside. with the outside being the more traditional look for Manitou. So we can easily add those mullions. We can change the railing on the deck, although that is the style that the homeowner would prefer. So,
Sound good? Okay. Thank you. Any more comments? Okay, the applicant you can step down now. And I will open the public comment. So those comments are for anyone who has to make a statement, either for or against this project. Okay. Can you-
Sir, could you please step forward? Thank you. It's easier to get it on the audio.
And state your name and address, please.
Push the button in the front.
My name is Byron Bell. I live at 917 Prospect Place.
Just push it once. And take your hand off
Okay,
it.
a few blocks away from the dwelling that you were speaking about. Question, can you clarify when you talked about the railing around the house, is it going to, are you just going to take it back to the home builder, or the architect's going to design the difference in the railing? Or when you asked that question, I just curious to know, is it going to be changed or not going to be changed for the railing in the back?
That would depend on what motion is made.
So when will we find that out? When will I find that out?
So if you have comments about the railing as a concerned citizen, you can offer those comments to the board here, and then they will take that into consideration when they make a motion at the end of the public hearing.
Okay, well, my comments, I don't really have any comments. I think that it looks like it should be the way it is in the original design for the house. If you change it, I think it would probably do not be as aesthetic looking if you change it as a normal railing, because it's going to be made out of metal, I believe. And typically what you were referring to, I think it's out of wood, like our home. So I'm not sure if that would be aesthetically looking.
I do feel like because the railing is in the back, and the road actually doesn't go, the road that's in the back of the house doesn't go all the way to that house specifically. So I don't know if anyone in the public will ever see it. So I feel like,
Sorry, Commissioner, I think we should finish the public comment portion and then deliberate. So thank you, sir.
So yeah, I'm finished.
Great.
Thank you. Are there any more comments from the public?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is David Hunting. I live at 914 Midland Avenue. Some 30 years ago, I served on this commission, so I appreciate your attention to detail and to keeping the neighborhood looking in a proper way with other homes on the up and down Manitou Avenue. My questions are twofold. I'd like to know what the construction will look like with construction vehicles coming up and down Manitou Avenue during both the construction at this property and also the property that you will currently review in the 900 block of Manitou Avenue. My other question regards property values. I've been a homeowner at 914 Midland Avenue for over 20 years. Value my home. My home was reviewed by the Historic Preservation Commission some 20 years ago when that was first built. That's before my wife and I moved into it. But my question for the applicant is, will all three of these homes remain on the Manitou Springs tax rolls for property tax? My understanding is the applicant is a nonprofit organization. And so I'd like to know whether or not these properties will be taken off the tax rolls for Manitou. Our city is in desperate need for financial input and contributions to its budget. So I'd like to know if these properties, the 800 block and also the 900 blocks, will remain on the tax rolls and be a source of income for the city of Manitou Springs.
If I could please clarify, this applicant is separate from the applicant for the two 900 block cases. And so the comment is received for those properties. However, it is outside of the jurisdiction of this board.
Okay, so then my question would be, is this something for the Planning Commission to take up perhaps, or City Council for Manitou Springs to see whether or not we're losing properties from our community that can contribute to the tax base?
I just have a comment, if I may.
Could we hear from Planning Director Roland Hagan first?
Oh, yes, that would
regarding
be.
a specific comment, and then
Absolutely. He may answer my question. Thank you.
For the record, Fred Roland Hagan, Planning Director. So when it comes to property tax, that's whether tax is being paid or not is not something that the Historic Preservation Commission or Planning Commission considers when they consider a land use application. They consider a land use application based on the criteria that's currently in the code in Title 17 for the Historic Preservation Ordinance, or Title 18, which is the Land Use and Development Code. And so that doesn't allow these commissions to consider a development because of property tax or how much property tax it might pay.
Thank you for that comment. Thank you for that. Thank you for that comment. And I understand that the HPC's purview is looking at structures and how that fits into the existing historic neighborhood. But I am concerned whether or not the applicant, Summit Ministries, that is a nonprofit organization, as I understand it, I'd like to be corrected if I'm wrong, will these properties underneath their purview be pulled off the tax rolls? And if that's the case, if not HPC, should that be referred to Planning Commission or ultimately to the City Council to make sure that we protect the property values and the tax revenues in our community?
So again, this application that's before the commission right now is not owned by Summit Ministries. This is a separate entity. And so these comments in the minutes, I would like to reorganize these comments to the following application. But again, the ownership and taxing ability of for those properties is not within the purview of the Planning Commission or HPC. I don't even believe that City Council would have that ability, as that's property taxing, and nonprofit entities are regulated at the state and federal level.
Okay, so that might be a question to consider later on.
Perhaps.
Okay, thank you for that
Thank you.
clarification.
In support of you questioning the way this might roll out, would this be something that this person could direct to a city official?
With regard to the construction logistics, there will be traffic control permits that are required, and other applications that would be regulated under either chapter, I believe 12, 14, 17, 18. So there's quite a few other regulations that are at play. But if specifically you're concerned about the traffic, that we could absolutely put you in touch with Alicia Stoke, who initiates the traffic control permits.
That's impressive that you know all those numbers.
No one checked me, so.
Do you have any more comments?
No, thank you for consideration of this matter, though. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Are there further comments?
Hello, my name is Simone. I live at 828.
Can you sit
Oh.
closer so we can?
Pull the whole thing closer.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Sorry, guys. My name is Simone. I live at 828 Midland Avenue, so one of the houses right next to the construction. I have one concern. I have a sunroom, which is my office, which will be facing their patio. And with it coming out, I am concerned about just light levels in my personal view. And then additionally, I do also share the concern of traffic, specifically parking. I was just wondering if there is like any like notes with construction to where they can park maybe down in the community lot instead of on the main road.
Hi, yes, again, we can include those comments as part of the traffic control permit. With regard to your initial comments about light and view shed, typically the side yard setbacks are set at 7.5 feet, which this application complies with, and that is intended to preserve light and air to neighboring properties. So it's certainly within the commission's purview to consider these comments, but with relation to code, that is the intent of that that code. So.
And then I did just have one more question. Of course, construction takes a long time and it's a bit disruptive. I was wondering if we have maybe a bit like of a timeline of about how long the construction is predicted to take.
This application is, I believe, the initial application for this project. Should this MCAC be approved, the approval would be good for 1 year. Within that timeframe, they would need to get building permits approved and a site plan approved. And so the building permit then would be kind of is the achievement that must be attained within that 1 year time frame. So essentially, the building permit must be pulled within a year. And then those building permits are typically good for 180 days. So that would be when construction would need to begin. So you're looking at 1.5 years to begin construction. And then, and that's on kind of the limit. So anytime after that, there would need to be an extension on these approvals. And then once construction begins, I believe there are checkpoints with Pikes Peak Regional Building Department to get inspections. However, I'm not sure what those deadlines are.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. More comments about 832 Midland.
I don't see any comments online.
Okay, thanks. Okay, we will close the public hearing and move on to commissioners' discussion. Does anyone have any comments in favor of the project?
I think it's a great looking project. I think the efforts made to fit into the neighborhood are successful. I think the garage door comment you made is a good one. There are no windows, even no lights in the door, even like the passage door.
Right.
I'm not sure that that's a big detraction. It's a very warm looking front. I guess the thing I'm wondering about is, so where, if we don't adhere to the 25-foot height requirement, where do we stop? Like, is there a percentage that we would look at of exceeding that? Or, I mean, I guess what I'm struggling with is changing the pitch of the roof would bring us down a bit to be more in compliance with the height restriction. I guess I'm wondering what anyone else thinks of whether that's an important.
Just to
do.
clarify, the additional height is deemed an incentive to permit steeper roofs in the historic district.
I'm sorry, what additional height?
Yes. So the HPC can approve up to 5 feet of additional height in order to accommodate steeper roof pitches.
Okay.
So kind of
Missed that.
opposite from
Sorry.
what you were, yes.
Okay, I missed that part.
Okay.
Okay, yes, I'm good now.
It does look like there is a window in the front. It's kind of hard to see, but I think there's one to the right of the front door. Is that correct? You really got to zoom in there.
So there is no window in the entry door?
No, it looks like it's to the right of the front door. But I think the house overall looks great. I like, yeah. I like the design. I like that it's a new build and it adopts the historical characteristics.
Style.
And Commissioner Porter also has her hand raised.
Thank you. I just agree with the comment about the garage doors. I think they should be more, it seemed like the architect was open to changing them so they look more historical. It sounds like people are liking the railing. I would like to see the railing be vertical rather than horizontal. I know they want to be modern, so I don't want to take that away, but at the same time, I think it would look more in fitting in the neighborhood. Of course, I would like it to be wood, but I know we've allowed metal ones to go up now. And on the windows about having double hung, and there was some kind of comment about they were open to changing the windows. You could help me with that.
Thank you. Any more comments from commissioners?
I would agree the railing with vertical styles in it could certainly look modern. I mean, I put one in my house that looked very modern and had vertical lines in it. So if that's something that we wanted to request, I would think could be solved in a modern appearance without compromising the whole point of the property.
And I'm okay with them horizontal. I just was commenting on that comment about making them vertical rather than horizontal. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion then to approve this application with conditions about the garage door and the railing?
I think at least the garage doors for me.
Does anyone like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion. I think we should approve this property. I think with the condition that the garage door be more in keeping with the neighborhood. I don't want to introduce changing the railing in this, so I'd say the only condition would be to change the appearance of the garage door.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Okay, we can, I think I was supposed to close that public hearing too.
You did at 6:12.
Okay. Okay. So That public hearing is closed and we will now open the public hearing for MCAC 2604 944 Midland Avenue.
Thank you. And Chelsea Royston for the record, that's a little bit late for that. So here we have an application at 944 Midland Avenue for new construction. The applicant is LGA Studios. And the request is for the new single household detached dwelling unit, as well as additional height relief to allow up to an additional 5 feet to accommodate the steep roof pitch. This property is also zoned general residential. However, it is in the High Roads Historic Subdistrict. Here's an overview of the site. This may be a little bit outdated, but essentially the site is vacant, save for one non-historic shed that will be removed. There was previously a residential structure on this site that was legally demolished in 2014. As stated in the staff report, this application is not related to applications heard around the same time. For those commissioners that may have been around at that time. The site slopes away from Midland Avenue and backs to what was previously the Midland Railway right-of-way. And as was introduced during the previous application's public comment, this site and 946 Midland Avenue are being submitted as one minor development plan and will be reviewed by City Planning Commission. That is because both of these sites, both of these applications will include front setback variances as well. That is outside of the purview of the Historic Preservation Commission. However, for context, I wanted to provide that as so that you could understand why these are being brought forward together but separate, and also heard by the CPC. This is the site plan. It is very informative, but we'll strip it down to these two footprints and the site boundaries. So 944 Midland is there on the lower right-hand side. It is compliant with side and rear setbacks. They will be seeking a variance, as I stated, to reduce the front yard setback to 5 feet where 15 feet is required to the face of the garage. However, this site plan, you can see that the front boundary of the site is quite a ways back from the developed roadway. So that is something that will be considered by City Planning Commission. However, I know those numbers can be a bit jarring to hear, so I again wanted to provide some context. The proposed site, the proposed structure will be 1,502 square feet. And similar to 832, this is a single story structure at the front of the lot facing Midland Avenue, and it the site drops and the rear of the property will become a walkout 2-story. So the front facade is 18 feet 10 inches. It does have a 7/12 roof pitch in that front gable. The rear facade is 28 feet and 10 inches. Again, this applicant, should the HPC decline to provide the height relief, they may choose to seek that height relief through a CPC variance. Here is the left side elevation where you can see the ground plane slope, and that this the rear porch on this is sorry, it's a deck. It's not a porch. It has no patio cover over it. And then the right side, the materials are, there's a nice list in the application, but for the sake of expediency, the primary wall cladding will be wood horizontal lap siding with a 6-inch reveal. There will be wood shakes in the front gable end accent. Fiberglass sliding windows. The front windows will have decorative muntins and will have asphalt shingle roofing. There were quite a few of the design guidelines that apply to this building. 2 of them do not apply, one being for multifamily residential developments. And then 5.9 relating to front porches. This front facade does not have a front porch. It just has a small covered doorway, covered entrance. And those, the review criteria and the justifications were detailed in the staff report. Staff does recommend one condition should the HPC find it appropriate to grant this MCAC, which relates to the Planning Commission approval. So should the Planning Commission modify or deny the request for a reduced front yard setback, the final plans may be modified to comply with setback standards without further consideration by the HPC, subject to staff review. So the intent of this proposed condition language is just to allow the structure as it is designed to be moved on the site to comply with setbacks. But with the ground plane sloping the way it does, that would result in changes to some of the facades. And so the intent of this condition is to let staff determine whether or not those changes are solely because of the Planning Commission or if they need to come back because there are other changes that are not viewed currently. So that concludes my presentation, and I will take any questions. Thank you.
Thanks. Questions from commissioners for staff?
Commissioner Porter has her hand raised.
Yeah, my question was, what is the condition you're recommending then? I was confused.
The condition is based on Planning Commission's approval. If they choose not to approve the reduced front yard setback variance, this condition would allow staff to approve any modifications to this MCAC to comply with setbacks.
Okay, thank you.
So the reason that it's so close to the roadway is because it drops off the elevation? Is that why?
Yes, and because there are varying setbacks in the neighborhood with the way the topography is and the way that the developed roadway sits within the platted right-of-way. It can create some variation in how far houses are set back. The house that was on this lot previously had a 0-foot setback, and setting it closer to the street will allow for a better angle of entry into the garage, and then we'll also allow that height to basically be rear loaded on the structure. The further back you go, essentially the higher that 2-story structure becomes.
Gotcha. Okay. It's good to know that the previous structure was 0 feet. So, thank you.
More questions for staff? No? Okay, will the applicant please come forward?
Michelle Williams with LGA Studios.
And Nathan Wrights, resident at 111 Mohawk Street, and I also represent Summit as Properties Director.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add to the presentation?
Just to reiterate the front setback request, kind of some of the reason behind it, what Chelsea shared, just the neighbor or the previous property at the 0, and then the neighbor is closer on the front setback too. And yeah, moving the house further back on the lot presents a number of challenges, including entry into the garage and the amount of fill dirt that would be needed to be brought on site. If we move it back the 10 feet, there's a significant amount of fill dirt that we would need to add. And then I think that would require also like a structural bridge from the street to the garage as an alternative to the fill.
Thank you. Do you have anything else to add?
I would just say that we're excited with the prospect of hopefully improving the neighborhood and trying to enhance the community. And one of our main objectives is to just increase our family housing. It's something that we hope to add as a benefit to the community. And maybe timing is off, but I do want to speak because I do care about our neighbors and concerns that just as a nonprofit, talking about taxes, I know that's not necessarily our focus, but all of our properties are assessed for taxes, and depending on our use for that property, we do pay property taxes if there's any revenue that's generated on that property. So our intent is to have tenants in these homes, and with that, we would assume that likely property tax would be a part of our responsibility with these properties.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions? No questions for the applicants?
It's hard to separate the two properties since they're mirror images of each other, right? The 946 and 944. Are the front elevation, the peak is already high, so we go, when the property goes back, it's even going to be higher as you go down the hill. Was there, what is the reason that you guys started at that height, 28 feet in front?
Excuse me, the front elevation, the peak is 18 feet, 10 inches, which is within the 25-foot building height.
I'm looking at the dimensions on the elevation, and I read 28 feet.
On the rear elevation, correct.
Well, no, I was looking at the front. Oh, I see. There's a different, oh, that's from the lower level. You're right. Sorry, I was confusing. Got it. Okay, never mind.
Any more questions? I just have one question about the front elevation and why you added a new element that really isn't that typical of that neighborhood of the box bay with the hip roof.
Just to add character and architectural interest to the front elevation. We could consider not having that as a cantilever and running foundation underneath that, but we thought it just added some character and interest to the front elevation.
Mm-hmm. Well, that neighborhood is really made up of more simple lines. And it seems like that doesn't really fit with that box bay and the muntins in the windows. It might be, I don't know, it looks too formal to me. I don't know if anyone agrees with me. But
I was feeling that way.
that would be my only comment, if you could maybe soften that up a little bit.
Would you prefer that the box bay be removed and just have a window there?
I think that would fit into the neighborhood more.
Okay.
And it would eliminate that other roof line too. Anyone else? Comments? Okay. There are no more questions from commissioners. You can step down and we'll open public comment.
My name is Byron Bell, and I live at 917 Prospect Place. My property, my wife and our property backs up to this development here on Midland, literally right up on the property line. And my concern is that we have a back easement way where we drive to park. I'm concerned that if I'd rather not have any developers driving back in that easement way to use that as access when they're building. It would be prefer if they're using doing their construction on the front on Midland Street. I don't know if that's something that has been addressed.
So that would really depend on how the easement is written, and if it is for access, then it's that would be a legal determination whether or not we'd be able to restrict that. But that is outside of the purview of the HPC.
So who would I need to present that to? Because that's an area of concern. Legally, it's just a dead end street. It's not even a street, it's just dead end easement that we drive back into park.
So I think the best way to do that would be if you could contact me and I'll give you my card, and then I can do some research on how that easement is written. But really, they're short of renegotiating that easement and re-recording it, there wouldn't be a way to restrict it if it's permitted within that
Okay,
use.
so this is okay, so then if you're saying that, if they come back that way, there's no way for them to access their property without going over my property. So that doesn't make sense to me. If they're going to come back there, then they would have to get permission from me and even from my neighbor to even access their property, because my property backs up to that property.
It depends on how the easement is written, and I really, I need to do research on
Okay.
how that easement is written in order to address this.
Okay. All right. Next question. I'm concerned with the elevation in the back. I remember the house that used to be there before it was torn down. And I know there's a setback from the road with that elevation coming back to the back half. That's going to be 28 feet, you said? On the back?
Yes, that's what's proposed.
Okay, so I would like to know just how close will that come to my property line? Because my property line comes right up to the back of that house. So I'd like to have that defined.
Yes, let me look that up on the site plan. Hold on just a moment.
Okay.
Unless the applicant has it.
The dimension from the back of the house to the back property line is 37.65 feet, and it's within the rear setback.
And when you say within the rear setback, it complies with rear setbacks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more comments?
Hello again. My name is David Hunting. I live at 914 Midland Avenue. First of all, I really do appreciate the applicant's clarification on the tax status there. I appreciate that. We want to be good neighbors in this neighborhood and welcome people in that makes the neighborhood more enhanced. The property that you are considering has had a history. I don't know if anybody on this commission was present 10, 12 years ago when that property was owned by the Pairings, and there was an application to Historic Preservation Commission to have 3 homes built on that property, which was denied by the commission at that time, thankfully. So this proposal seems to be much more reasonable. I do have a comment though on the setback, the 5-foot setback. My home at 914 Midland Avenue, the original home was built in 1906 and was added onto in the year 2000 and reviewed by this commission. The setback on my home is at least 15 feet from the street. My driveway kind of goes down a little bit, down into a double garage that I have. The drainage goes off to the west, so it works out very well. So there is a precedent for maintaining your setback that you have before you beyond the 5-foot limit, because my home at that time when it was being built met the standard of at least 15 feet back from Midland Avenue. So I'd invite you to consider that once again as you review both these properties on this proposal. Any questions?
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Oh, I might add just one other thing. When my house was built, the back of the property was elevated to allow the home to go back to the north some more. So that is possible to set the home back from the street and then have the landscape in the back of the property raised a little bit to accommodate the structure that you might consider putting there.
Thank you. Do we have, oh.
So one other item I forgot to ask is about Byron Bell at 917 Prospect Place. In reference to this new development, I'm inquiring about the drainage. I'm concerned about that because it does slope down and again, it comes right back down to my driveway. So that's an area of concern, what's going to be done for drainage. There's nothing there in place as of today. Actually, there never has been for many, many years.
So grading and erosion control permit will be part of the application packages that are reviewed administratively, and then the final site plan will be, the minor development plan will be reviewed by City Planning Commission.
Okay, and also I'd like to reiterate that I was informed that that is a private easement, that driveway back there. So if you can solidify that item that I brought to your attention earlier, I would definitely be looking forward to getting that information.
Yes, you'll have to email me so I have your contact
Will do.
information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nathan Wrights, 111 Mohawk Street. So just this is more a comment for staff to help with this question. So Summit owns the property at 936 Midland Avenue, and that property did come with a deeded right of way, just for help of understanding it. Unfortunately, based on what we know, it's really difficult to determine what deeded right of way means and how that works. But currently, our plan and our hope is to be able to handle all construction needs on Midland Avenue. So that's our hope is to ensure that we do limit any sort of traffic or activity through that deeded right of way. And it's certainly our goal to communicate with neighbors and seek permission if we have any deliveries or anything else that might need access through there.
Thank you. Are there any more comments concerning 944 Midland Avenue? Okay, I will close the public comment section and ask commissioners for discussion. Whether you think this application should be approved or have conditions.
Commissioner Porter has her hand raised.
Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Laura. As I understand it then, the side setbacks or front, those are gonna not under our purview since it's a minor development plan. Just a comment of the value of setbacks, 15 feet is good. In my opinion, I've lived in places where you had very small setbacks and back houses are just built almost on the road. So it's not really in our purview to decide that we want what side backs we would want. I'm assuming that. And that was my only comment.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else? Comments?
Are we allowed to
Commissioner
give comments
Tomasic?
on what we think about the setbacks?
So the side setbacks are, the HPC is empowered to allow reduced side yard setbacks and additional height. The front yard setback is not within your purview and will be decided upon by the City Planning Commission.
Thank you.
Any more comments?
I think just to bring up discussion again about the window in front
Mhm.
of Box
Okay.
Bay. I think that simplifying that front elevation would, like you said, bring it back into more be more cohesive with the neighborhood. I just wanted to bring that back up for
Okay.
anybody else to comment on if there's anyone else feeling like that.
Does everyone agree with that?
I certainly, I don't know if my hand is up.
Yes, Commissioner Porter?
Okay, yes, I agree with that. I think it softens it and it's for an architectural appeal, which I understand, but at the same time, it would stand out in the neighborhood. It wouldn't be as cohesive. So I'm in agreement to having that changed.
Right, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, I will now
Sorry,
close. Somebody,
Sorry, I was clarifying that the public comment portion of the hearing is closed.
what? Oh, what did she say?
Sorry, I accidentally hit my microphone and I was clarifying for someone in the audience that the public comment portion of the hearing is closed.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Okay, so and now I need to close the public hearing part. And ask for a motion to approve, let's see, MCAC 2604 for 944 Midland Avenue. Do we have a motion to approve with a condition?
I'll make a motion to approve with the condition that they take away that bay and just make it a flat window.
Okay, thanks.
Does the commission also support staff's recommended condition?
Yes.
Yes.
So now a second.
I second.
Is there a second?
Aaron seconded.
Oh, thank you. All in favor
Aye.
of
Aye.
Aye.
aye? Opposed? The motion passes 7-0. Okay. Now I will open up the public hearing for MCAC 2605 for 946 Midland Avenue.
Thank you. I'm getting my screen shared and okay. MCAC 2605 for 946 Midland Avenue. Again, this is the next door neighbor of the application that we just saw. There are a few key differences. In addition to the additional height to accommodate the steep roof pitch, the applicant also requests relief to allow a 5-foot side yard setback where 7.5 feet are required. And this is on the southeast property line that is adjacent to 944 Midland Avenue. So here we have this property, and there is another non-historic shed that will be removed as part of this development. This site is currently vacant and also slopes away from Midland Avenue and backs to what was previously the Midland Railway right-of-way. And again, the simplified site plan. So the 946 Midland Avenue, you can see this where my cursor is on this screen on the southeast property line. That setback is proposed to be 5 feet. And that does incorporate the single car garage as well as a portion of the living space. And that is on the side that is adjacent to 944 Midland Avenue. HPC is empowered to grant this relief. Again, there aren't really any approval criteria. There is the stipulation that there must be at least 10 feet between buildings, and there are, I believe, 13 feet between these two structures. This proposed structure is, or the structure is proposed to be 1,546 square feet. The front elevation, as Commissioner Rose noted, is almost the mirror image. There are a couple key differences. The first being that this one does have a covered front patio. It also has a different styling, and due to topographic changes on between these two sites, the proposed front elevation on this on 946 Midland Avenue is 20 feet and 6 inches. On the rear, this will be right at that 30-foot maximum at 29 feet and 11 inches. Again, the maximum in the general residential zone district is typically 25 feet. To allow this 7/12 steep roof pitch, the Historic Preservation Commission may grant up to 30 feet. And here we have the left side elevation showing very similar lot siding. And this application will also be, yes, this development will also be requesting that front setback that is within the City Planning Commission's purview. The materials for this structure are proposed to be wood, board, and batten siding, fiberglass sliding windows. The front windows will have decorative muntins, and asphalt shingle roofing, except for the metal accent roofing on the front patio cover. Again, the findings and review criteria are in the justifications are stated in the staff report. The multifamily residential development does not apply to this application. Guideline 5.9 does apply to this application as there is a front porch and it is oriented towards the street in accordance with the guideline. Staff has the same proposed condition as with the last application, and staff also recommends that the final plans shall replace the metal accent roofing with asphalt shingle roofing on that front porch, as that is not in keeping with the historic district design guidelines. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Okay. Questions for staff? No questions. All right. We can now have the applicant come forward.
Michelle Williams with LGA Studios.
And Nathan Wrights, 111 Mohawk Street, and representing Summit Ministries.
And do you have anything to add to the presentation?
The main reason for the side setback request, this lot is 5 feet narrower than 944 Midland, and so it's the same footprint and width as 946, just the lot is narrower. And then as Chelsea mentioned, the setback impacts 946 Midland and not a neighbor on either side.
Okay, thank you. Anything else to add? Commissioners, do you have questions for the applicant? No questions?
I don't have a question, except it's a comment. I had noticed that you planned that setback change between the two properties that you represent, and I think that was a smart way to do that, if you're gonna do that. Sort of keeps it within the unit.
Okay. I guess you can be seated, and we will open up public comment.
My name is Byron Bell. I live at 917 Prospect Place. Again, this same property that was just presented backs up to my property as well. And I have the same concerns as the previous property with the drainage, also with the easement way, which we're going to solidify and find out about. And in addition to that, I'm concerned with the property, the setback will look right over my property. Is there a plan to build a fence or any type of retaining wall of any kind of sort?
Typically, fences are not permitted to be built inside easements.
Well, there's one there now. So are you telling me that the fence that says there now, is it going to be removed? It's been there for well over 25 or 30 years. I'm confused about that.
I think that question should be directed towards the applicant. The fence is not typically part of this application, but that is something that the applicant may address.
Okay, in addition to that, there's a tree there that's well over 70 years old, could be older than that. That's on my property line. I'm just a bit concerned that, is there any type of recourse if I start seeing something that's not quite right, that they're cutting down or doing something that's on my property line?
Yes, you can submit. You're always welcome to reach out to me directly. You have my contact information. We also have C-Click Fix available for any perceived code violations that would then be routed towards our neighborhood services officer, who would go do a site inspection and determine if a violation has been committed.
Okay, and you would be the initial point of contact for that, to get that started? Or
I can absolutely send you the link when we talk about the easement.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you. More public comments?
David Hunting, 914 Midland Avenue. I just have a question for the applicant. On this property, there is currently a school bus parked on this property, which does not bode well with the neighborhood. So I just want to know if something like that will be removed and if in the future there will be no school buses parked in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nathan Wright's representing Summit Ministries. Yeah, our apologies as far as the school bus goes. It was a temporary solution to a problem we encountered with some of our other parking. No, it is not our intent to maintain a school bus there. We do have school bus parking lot that actually is at the entry of that deeded right of way, and that is our designed school bus parking area. As far as the fence, I think we've done surveying just to confirm the location of the wire fence that there is there currently. We are not at the phase of making decisions on fencing, but we can certainly communicate with our neighbors on what we hope or intend to do.
Thank you for the clarification. Any more comments? Public comments? Okay, I will now close the public comment section. And commissioners, discussion about approving or not approving this property or this application?
Mildly conflicted by the garage door. And so we did just disapprove a steel overhead door. That might have been a question for the applicants, but I was curious why the other house has the wood, and this one doesn't. I do feel like this house, it fits the style of it a lot better. I was curious if any of you were conflicted about it or not.
Okay,
So
thanks.
this garage, is it steel with a wood pattern? Is that what it is? Or is it wood? It kind of looks like it just has a wood pattern on it. I guess that's a question for the applicant.
And windows, right? I think.
Yeah, it has windows on it.
Right.
But yeah, if we just rejected a request for a steel door, then it doesn't feel right.
I will note that, and I don't know what the guidelines say specifically, but this is in the High Road Historic Subdistrict rather than the Midland Historic Subdistrict. And they know that they have a slight variation in their guidelines.
Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion?
I think my hand is up.
Oh, Commissioner Porter.
It's okay. I just am not wanting really to look at the side setbacks. I'd prefer it to be done with a different entity just because I'm not comfortable in narrowing that because of the aesthetics of narrowing those kinds of things. It really changes how a neighborhood looks. And so I'm not comfortable in approving that part. Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, I fear that maybe we phrased it confusing, but HPC's ability to grant that setback relief is intended to be an incentive to allow for reduced setbacks to mimic more historic development patterns, which typically had shorter or more narrow side yard setbacks.
Okay. Any more comments about approval? All right, I will now Oh, I'm supposed to give the time. It's 7:03 and I'm closing the public hearing. Do we have a motion to approve MCAC 2605-946 Midland?
So I'll make the motion to approve MCAC 2605 with the two conditions recommended by staff.
Thank you. Second?
I would second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
I have a question.
Oh,
What are the two conditions?
They are shared currently. So the first condition is, should the planning commission modify or deny the request for a reduced front yard setback, the final plans may be modified to comply with setback standards without further consideration by the HPC, subject to staff review. And number two, the final plans shall replace the metal accent roofing with asphalt shingle roofing.
So is there anything about the setbacks then? If we vote yes or no?
It
Are
wasn't
we,
in the motion.
if we vote yes, does that mean we're approving the narrow setbacks?
The current motion and has been seconded and should be voted upon. It does not include a condition to modify the setbacks.
Correct, yes.
Oh, so the setbacks would be the 7.5?
No, I guess to approve the setbacks as presented, which includes a 5-foot side yard setback.
Instead of the 7.5.
Correct.
Thank you.
thank you. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And I would be no.
Opposed? Okay. One.
I would be opposed.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner
Motion
Porter.
passes, yeah, 6-1. Okay. I will now open the public hearing for MCAC 2603-210 Iron Road.
MCAC 2603, exterior alterations. Carl Hunslack, applicant on behalf of Bob McAtee, property owner. Here is an overview of 210 Iron Road. It is in the Minnehaha Pilot Knob Historic District. It is zoned general residential and is a non-contributing structure. The project proposal is to remove an existing enclosure over the front porch and install a new enclosure and install a permanent awning over the garage door. The structure that's there currently is unpermitted and unapproved by the commission. It was done as a way to mitigate stormwater issues that was occurring at the garage underneath. And the applicant is now, well, the property owner is now seeking to have it done professionally with the approval of the Historic Preservation Commission and the Planning Department. This application would also require subsequent approval, variance approval from the CPC for front and side variances. Since it does go beyond 5 feet, both of those variances will go to City Planning Commission. Here are the current conditions of the structure itself. The top portion is the enclosure that they seek to remove and replace. There will be no change to the bottom elements. It is just a double garage. It is constructed of cinder block. There's been numerous stormwater issues for this particular property, which is noted in the historic district due to the topography. These structures were typically built without altering the terrain, as was common for this particular district during that time. And as a result has impacted the structure itself. As mentioned previously, that top portion was built to mitigate some of the stormwater runoff that was going into the garage underneath. Here are some other angles. That door there, that picture on the right, that is currently the front entrance, and will continue to be if approved. Here is the site plan. In the front, what they are proposing is to have the front match the structure itself with just a lapped hardboard siding. The windows proposed are a typical vinyl window, approximately 4x4 with a 4x2 there on the end. And then on the entrance, 2 4x2s. The landing will also be replaced. As for the awning, this is being built to try and stop some of the runoff into the garage itself. The applicant has been approved to put down asphalt in the front portion, which hasn't occurred yet, but they have gotten the permit through the planning department to have that done. And this will be a permanent awning, and it'll be held up by concrete piers. And a lot of these details I've already mentioned, the hardboard lap siding, the vinyl windows. And that concludes this presentation, the motion language. Should the HPC find it appropriate to grant the MCAC, staff recommends no conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for staff?
There was a lot of information in the packet, in the letter, talking about water infiltration from the street, and I got a little puzzled about whether that's the problem. That I don't see how the addition above the garage and the awning are going to correct that. So this is just to control rainfall. There's probably a little more that I should have kind of led with. There's mobility issues with the property owners as well. As for the original structure being built, I guess I don't have the photo with me, but in that packet, there is photos inside the garage, and you can kind of see the roof itself, kind of like standard deck planking. You can see some signs where it looked like they tried to seal between the planking. And this is their way of trying to mitigate damage going through, but also trying to kind of thwart snowfall piling up on that portion as well, since it does serve the primary portion of the residence. The awning as well to try and stop some of that flow. I know that the street itself has been changed quite considerably just over the course of the structure's lifetime, and as a result has been built up beyond the level plane of where the house is built, and it's more specifically the garage portion. And they're just trying to have those issues fixed, which isn't necessarily a part of this application itself, but also trying to bring it into compliance, not only through the planning department applications, but in compliance with the Historic Preservation Commission through the MCAC process.
Okay, any more questions for staff? All right, will the applicant please come forward? state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Carl Hansolik. I run Comfort Restorations. I'm here representing the owners of 210 Iron Road.
Okay, do you have anything to add to the presentation?
No, I think it was pretty well done for the most part. They literally have sandbags across the front there. So the additional patio cover and stuff should help push things back towards the road, along with the permit for the asphalt, which we're going to raise it up just a hair to help push away.
Okay, thank you. Questions for the applicant?
I just want to say that I think it's going to be an improvement. I like that it's going to be permitted and it's going through the proper routes. I don't have any problem with that. I think it's going to be nice.
I agree. It's a definite improvement to the property. Any more comments?
I walk by this house several times a week, so I'll be glad to see it look nicer.
Okay.
Thank you.
I guess the applicant can step down, and it doesn't look like there's going to be any public comment. So, what?
Just for procedure purposes, you still have to open up public comment
Oh,
and then
okay.
close it. So.
Okay. Trying to take a shortcut. It's getting late. Okay, I'll open public comment. Anyone?
There's none online.
Okay, and there is no one, so I'll close public comment now. And commissioners can deliberate. Decide whether you think it should be approved.
I just agree with it. It's a big improvement, and I think it'll make a big difference.
Okay, I think we all agree on that. So I'll now close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I motion to approve MCAC 2603 with no, what's the word? Conditions. Thank you.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 7-0. Okay. Oh, we're finished with those. All right, we can move on to other business. Reservation Award Art Contest update. Do you have updates?
I do.
Commissioner Tomsic?
So unfortunately, I have reached out to the school several times in several different ways. And I have heard nothing. So I requested that the flyers that were made be printed out so I could take them to the school in hopes that I could just give them to somebody and they pass them out. I was trying to think of alternate options just in case. Just because so far it seems to not be getting through to them, which I'm surprised by.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
I'm just surprised that the school hasn't responded at all. So I'm hoping if I was trying to get them to respond before I went to the school, just because I work full time and then I have to leave work to do that. So I'm planning on doing that, but I was going to open up maybe possible other ideas just in case. I was even going to offer that I could do an art. I know a lot of people in town would be willing to, so I think it'd be really important to get the school involved.
I do too.
And so I'm hoping
that idea.
if I go in person that they'll listen to me finally. I called the school, they transferred me to the art teacher, left a voice message, nothing. So I'm not sure really what's happening with that, but,
So you've
shall
gotten
see.
no response?
no, none at all.
I guess, what is our deadline that we should have it to the school by? If
Well-
they do move forward with it, what would the deadline
I
be?
think we thought they should get started at
Yeah.
the beginning of April, didn't we? And
Yeah, so when I
April and
initially
part of
sent,
May.
it was April, or yeah, April 1st,
Okay.
thought they were supposed to start.
Mhm.
And who knows, they might have seen the application and given it to people already, but I have no idea. So I was gonna go take these, this week or early next week. Hopefully.
That'll be good.
Question, and I made sure it was okay to do this. I could be wrong and I don't have connections at the school, but isn't there the show Wonderkind that Mac organizes with the high school students and it's all the art students? And isn't that happening right now? Where they're does anyone know what I'm talking about? I'm just wondering if maybe an alternative way to reach out would be through the Mac.
That's a
because
good,
they
I have
do,
thought about that, because
Yeah,
they
so maybe
connect with the
that's-
school a lot.
it'd be a possibility, but
Yeah.
I had trouble reaching out to the school too, so I totally get
Yeah,
it. So
thank you.
it's a thought.
And Commissioner Porter has her hand raised as well.
I would just like to say that schools at this time, as you're heading into March and the state testing and all the pressures that schools are under, probably having an assembly wouldn't have been possible depending on the schedule, but becomes pretty tense at schools. And I have a feeling it's not really wanting to ignore us, but just not really having the ability to do what we were asking. I think reaching out to the MAC is probably a better way maybe to get the art. That was
So
all.
during the last meeting, the conversation revolved around involving the students primarily so that I guess as a cost mitigation effort. And we had talked about reaching out to Crane. Actually, I did reach out to Crane, and Crane indicated that it would be unlikely that professional artists would respond to this sort of opportunity within this time frame for this amount and things like that. And so that's why the school was identified as the provider. I think at this point, selecting an individual may not achieve our goals of having a competitive process that we were, that was kind of like the intent of this.
Yes.
So those are my recollections, I guess.
Yeah. And I also felt like this would have been a good way to get involved with the school for future endeavors as well. Because I think that's right where it starts with outreach. And I will agree with Commissioner Porter that specifically one of the art teachers that I initially reached out to is also a wrestling coach. So his season just finished up. So unfortunately they are very busy right now, and a lot of the teachers do after school activities as well. So that's why I was hoping maybe taking the flyers to them and just presenting it with my face would help.
It might really work.
Commissioner Porter? Yes?
No, I'm fine.
Would we,
Oh,
would we be interested in trying to get elementary school kids?
and I actually was talking to my work about this today, because the art teacher there, she's very involved in the community. And I also had her when I was in elementary school there, which is crazy to say, but I felt like that might be a good idea to get the entire school involved, but I know with I don't know what level of quality we are trying to achieve with this. So I think my initial thought with the high school was that they're a little bit more skilled and seasoned in making art. So it'd be more appropriate for preservation awards, but I did like the idea of just involving everybody that we possibly could.
Well, do you think it's possible at all that you will be able to get in touch eventually or soon?
I think
Or
so.
would you like some help? or?
I mean, if anyone is willing to go there and hand out these flyers, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Yeah, that'd actually be awesome. Just, yeah, and you can tell them that, like, I contacted them. Yeah. Yeah, because I work full time and right now it's very busy for some reason, so I haven't unfortunately been able to go yet. So thank you. I'll give you these after the meeting.
I
Okay,
just
and
looked
then-
up when spring break is for the high school. It's March 23rd to 27th.
Yep.
So that's another reason why maybe they're
they're
a little
maybe
strapped
plan.
right now.
Okay, so we can just keep communicating by email and
Yeah.
let us
And
know
I'll
how it's
see what
going. If
you
need.
figure out and maybe we can.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That'll be a big help. Okay, so let's see. What else do we need to do? Oh, we do have the library, the same room reserved. So we're all set
For
there.
which date and time?
May
say May?
28th. It'll start at 5:30. I think we did 5:30 to 7. We have the room at 5. So we can set up, and I think we have it until 8, so there's plenty of time.
Five to eight. So
Yeah, that's when we have the room.
Okay.
And the event will be 5:30 to 7, I think. And then as far as food or snacks, if you like, I can organize something, and I think if we all contribute something like chips or bread or whatever, we can make it as nice as last year.
Do you mind repeating that for closer to the microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. What it, oh, I said that I would organize the food part and we would all contribute something and we'd have a nice spread like last year. Also, if staff could bring the drinks again, like last year.
Yeah, this is all part of the budget conversation, so I think
Yeah, yeah, we can cover drinks.
Okay, that'll be good.
How many people are we expecting to come?
Well, we had a really big crowd. We had more than we expected last year because I think I had about 25 to 30 RSVPs, but I think we had, what, about 40, 50?
yeah, we ran out of chairs.
Yeah, we were full to capacity. The room's supposed to have a capacity of 50, so
Oh, awesome.
we had to cram people in there. So it was good though.
Yeah, that's nice.
And staff will begin working on the list of MCACs that were permitted and then we'll distribute those, and commissioners have historically kind of gone around to verify whether the work was completed in compliance with the MCAC's conditions, and then from there the list is generated of folks that are invited, and staff sends out postcards, and those folks can then RSVP to the chair to create a list.
Yes, thank you. And then as far as picture frames for the awards, do you still have, I know last year you had a stock.
Yes, I believe we have enough that we can cover what there were relatively few MCACs that were approved. I think we only got up to 12 MCAC 2512 or
10 or
13, somewhere in there. So yeah, I think we have plenty.
Okay. Any other comments?
So
We
are you
can
saying you
move-
have frames?
Yes.
Oh, okay. For the art?
Not for the art, for
Okay.
the individual awards.
Okay.
Right, the frame for the art was something that we discussed last month.
Yeah, have you seen one of the awards? You reduced down the artwork into, what is it, 9 by 12 or 8.5 by 11? And then we framed those and that's the award. So. Okay, treasure hunts. Is there any?
So I just sent Commissioner Rose this evening or this afternoon the folder of the photos that several commissioners have submitted. Several of them are for the same address, so I think we should have a quick conversation about whether multiple photos from the same address are separate entries. I think you should all decide about that.
I sent photos from the same address, so there were multiple options.
Yeah,
So if you don't want to use the other. kind of thing.
Right, that was what I thought would happen. But do we
Thank you
have
for
enough-
saying that. I didn't see that this afternoon.
Yeah, it was trying to check it off the list before the meeting. And then so we may need a few more photos to meet the 11 distinct addresses then.
Yeah. We can continue that. I mean, there's plenty of time to get more photos.
Fred did connect me with the social media manager, so I'm gonna talk with them next week, I think. So
Yep.
maybe we can try to get this in one of the posts.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll mention this to them.
When do we want, I forget what we said, we want the time frame to be, the open time frame for the
Was it
scavenger
April?
hunt. It's in,
That's what I thought.
It's in-
all of April, or
is it the month of April?
I could be wrong.
Yeah, didn't we post it in the paper, I think, and hand out the entry forms, I think around April 15th?
Yeah, I mean,
Does that sound right?
the awards ceremony isn't until the end of May.
Right,
So I don't know that we would need the whole month of April and the whole month of May
right,
to do the
right.
contest.
So
So,
I think mid-April,
yeah,
and then they should be due a couple days. So we can come.
yeah, maybe a week before.
I mean,
Yeah, right.
We might hopefully have a lot.
Yeah.
To count.
So we should also begin talking with, I haven't started this yet, talking with merchants in town. So,
It's probably best to have the form.
yeah, we should have the flyer
Good
together for
morning.
that. So we should be doing that. That should start April 1st.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I think starting that April
yeah,
1st.
because it does, it takes, last year it took a couple of weeks really to pull together as many merchants as we had, because you can't just walk in and catch the right people all the
Right.
time. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is,
Yeah,
it is something that you need to find out when the manager or owner is going to be there, the decision maker, and come back at that time. So I think I went a few times at lunch. Just I work from home, but I could get away to get into town for lunch. And then, maybe on the weekends, or most of the stores aren't open past 5 or 6. So, it's mostly lunchtime or weekends.
It might make sense to start with the folks that contributed last year.
Yeah.
As you might already have contact information for the right folks at those stores. So that's also another tactic.
That's a good idea.
Mhm.
So maybe, maybe we'll try to put together a list for our next meeting of merchants to approach, starting with the ones that we've already approached, and
And then
just
maybe
sort of divide and
add some.
conquer.
Mhm.
I did double check with my mom that Civilli's would be willing to do like a gift card.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then we put posters up in there all the time, so we can do that. So you can add that to the list.
She said yes.
I know.
That's good. And, and I will also, be in touch then with the chamber to see if they want to keep the entry forms again.
Yeah.
Because I think most of them came from there. And the Heritage Center.
And when would we want, like, when do we need the contributions from the merchants?
We would collect them ahead of time. So,
Okay, just anytime.
you know,
you get them.
it's whenever when you talk with one of the merchants and then they agree to do it, then you hopefully take something with you right then, or you come back and pick it up.
And just bring it to the next meeting.
But
Yeah, last year we pretty much presented the people who won the contest with a little gift bag with all the stuff in it,
Love it.
or 2 bags, because there was a lot.
Oh,
it was a lot. It was a very nice.
Yeah, it was great.
okay, thank you. I was just wondering so I could get that gift card when I should get that gift card.
Okay. So we have a plan for that. Where we have everything covered. That does sound.
I think we're getting there.
Okay. So at the April meeting, we will have a list. Do you want me to do that? I can do that because I have all the info. And we can divide.
And so
it
we
up.
should have our photos wrapped up by like in the next couple of weeks, and I can put together the flyer and we'll have it ready for the next meeting. So that it's ready to go out.
Yes.
So
good.
if we say have photos, any additional photos added by 2 weeks from now.
How many more photos are needed?
I didn't do an exact count because
Oh,
there's,
I
you know.
think as many, I mean, if we just extend the photos for the next 2 weeks,
yeah.
then we'll just do what we have.
Okay.
I
So
haven't
we're
had
not gonna
chance
do the
to-
same amount as last year, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we'll go with the same amount. So there were 11.
Okay. Then you could use the same template.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Okay.
So try to get photos into Chelsea by, what is it? By the 20th even? Or the 18th?
18th of this month.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of March.
Yes.
Yep, and I will get them uploaded as they come in so that if we meet the 11 distinct properties threshold, then you can start working on it as soon as we have that.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anything else on treasure hunt? We're good. Okay. It's 7:37 and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.